Common sense would suggest that the more educated and wealthy a person is, the less prone to violence that person should be. There is a study, however, that suggests otherwise. Islam on Campus, a survey of UK student opinions by John Thorne and Hannah Stewart, published 2008. This study examines British Muslim students and their attitudes towards various social, economical, political and religious issues. And the results are more than horrifying. It starts off with somewhat harmless findings, such as 52% considering Islam to be both a way of life and a religion. But it turns dark very, very soon. 25% find it generally unacceptable to interpret Sharia law depending on time and place. This becomes even scarier when you realize that 33% are in favor of a worldwide Sharia-guided caliphate, and 32% find it acceptable to kill in the name of their religion. You know, at this point it's somewhat important to note that only 2% of non-Muslims share this notion. The study also does a really good job at showing how totalitarian Islam is. 50% would be very unsupportive of a friend leaving Islam, and 6% would go as far as applying Sharia law to that person. Now, here comes one of the most disgusting pieces of data I have ever seen. 50% of those 6% are in favor of killing the person who wants to leave Islam. This essentially means that 3% of all the educated, wealthy and at least theoretically moderate Muslims want to kill people who wish to leave Islam. On a political level, the responses are just as bad. 28% believe that Islam is incompatible with a separation of religion and government, and 57% think that Muslim soldiers should have the right to opt out of the army if they are required to fight in Muslim countries. On a social level, the responses actually reach a new low. 11% of all Muslims, compared to only 2% of all non-Muslims, have no respect for atheists. 25% of all Muslims, compared to only 4% of all non-Muslims, have no respect for homosexuals. And a staggering 40% of all Muslims believe that men and women should not be allowed to associate freely. This study overall paints a devastating picture of Islam on campuses, clearly showing what dangerous cult of violence it actually is. And before you start screaming about this being only a single study, I have made several videos on this topic, and Islam is associated with violence and crime on every level of analysis, be it the religion itself, the practices it preaches, or the actual social impact of Muslims. So the next time someone tells you Islam is a religion of peace, just link him through one of my videos. I'm Dr. Layman, glad you tuned in, and thanks for having me, Fiffen. It's always great to hang out with you. And as always, Babylon prevails.